overall I have to say, not a bad adaptation. Alright, Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho, the latest anime to join the plethora of live-action animes. How is it? How does it stack up to the anime? Does it fall into that gutter or that every other show does? Let's find out. Alright, so Yu Yu Hakusho, live-action, it covers mainly the Spirit Detective arc, the Genkai Tournament arc, which I would say is not really a tournament, the Yukina Rescue arc, that arc with Kurama Hihei and that other demon with the 3 dark objects. I'm forgetting what it's called exactly. That's not the particular order that the arcs come in, that's just kind of how I kind of remember them. I'm kind of forgetting which one each comes. But yes, this live action covers those arcs, and to its credit, it does a pretty good job at cohesively tying all of these arcs together, with each moment leading into the next, and it actually making a lot of sense. Which is kind of hard for many IPs to do with things like anime. I mean, look at the latest Mortal Kombat. It had all these characters, and they might have all this lore behind them, but we're not going to know any of that lore, and only they're just kind of characters that show up and they do their thing, and maybe they die, maybe they don't. That's kind of just how Mortal Kombat is, to be honest. You know, it kind of reminded me of Street Fighter's Assassin's Fist, which is a movie I really enjoyed, that I believe started out as a YouTube short, because you can tell whoever made this has such a love for the series, and it does have some pretty great choreography during these fights, making them a lot more violent, a lot more hand-to-hand, and it really makes the show entertaining, especially I imagine for people who aren't familiar with the IP. And I was digging the series, but it fell into a pit hole that is a real shame, because they could have milked another season out of it. Yu Yu Hakusho live action just kind of reveals all of its hands way too quickly.
But you're not supposed to start all out. You're supposed to start small and then work up to it.
One moment during the final acts I thought, oh, this is probably going to happen so they can set up for the greatest Yu Yu Hakusho arc of all time, the greatest tournament arc in anime of all time, as we all know, the Dark Tournament. And I gotta say, the actors here, I do think they did a pretty good job portraying the characters that they're playing. Yusuke's actor, Takumi Kitamura, Kurama's actor, Jun Shison, Hiei's actor, Kanata Hongo, and Kuwabara's actor, Shuhei Usugi. They all do a pretty good job portraying the characters they are, but I feel like a fault of the series is we're not given enough time to spend with these characters to really flesh them out. As we know them, we know Yusuke is the headstrong person that everyone sees as a delinquent. They think he's going to make nothing of himself, and we do see instances of people thinking that, but we don't really get those moments. Especially, we don't have the teacher character in this, the principal, I believe, that saw that Yusuke was a good person. We do get the mean teacher, the one that always ridiculed Yusuke. We get Kuwabara, the lovable goofball. And he is lovable in this film. We do get his idea that he's a goofball. He enjoys picking fights with Yusuke and wants to be better than him. And we see his kinder side, his more prideful side of wanting to protect people, his friends. And they did a good job of that with Kuwabara. Kodama, they pretty much stick to his thing as well, but they do take away from some of the story of exactly when he started to love his human mother. And Hiei is just the badass that doesn't say much. They got all of these characters pretty well, but the fault of the anime is we don't get enough time to spend with these characters to fully flesh them out. And that's particularly shown with the supporting cast, with characters such as Botan, Koenma, which surprisingly they did not do baby form. I was wondering if they were going to do it, but they did his adult form. and Genkai, which is perhaps the most tragic one because Genkai is such a great character. Her student dynamic with Yusuke is so good in the anime and in the manga story, but because this live action rushes so quickly, we don't feel that much of an impact when Genkai meets her end at Togoro's hand. It isn't as powerful because we haven't been spending all this time with Genkai and Yusuke and the entire group, seeing them get stronger, and this reveal just kind of shows up. In the anime, it's hinted at until it eventually is shown within the Dark Tournament of Genkai and Togoro's relationship. But here, it just happens, and it doesn't hit as hard, especially with Genkai giving Yusuke her remaining power. I remember in the anime, that thing was hardcore. Yusuke was in pain. Pooh was trying to give him water, and he was also in pain. And since they're connected, it's just such a beautiful moment. We're not giving enough time to spend with Togoro for us to really like him because he just shows up. We get hints of like, I'm gonna use 30% of my power, and we get the idea of once Yusuke gets the power from Genkai of Togoro being excited because he knows Genkai gave his power, but it's different because, in the anime it was a slow burn. They went to save Yukina. It was just Kurabara, Yusuke, and Hiei, but Hiei didn't do much till the very end. Togoro lets them think they win, only to show up and show Yusuke that he wasn't even trying against him, and forcing him to join the Dark Tournament because he knows that Genkai trained him. And that leads up to so many things. We also get Team Toguro on here. We get all of the enemies that Team Urameshi fought in the Dark Tournament. Kurama fights the bomb guy. Hiei fights the dude with the giant axe. Kurabara fights the older Toguro. And these fights are actually really well choreographed, and my first thought was, thinking if they were going to do a season 2, is that they're all going to lose these fights, and then Toguro is going to mention the Dark Tournament, and that's going to set up for season 2, since, unfortunately, Yu Yu Hakusho was only got 5 episodes, which was kind of sad. I think it could have done well. It could have definitely covered these arcs in 5 episodes, but because it also tries to introduce Toguro and conclude his arc, all of the stuff that happens in the Dark Tournament, it just felt way too fast and way too abrupt. It would have just been great if Netflix would have done what the anime did, that somehow Toguro throws this fight, or maybe all of them lose, and then Togoro's like, you know what? You did good, Urameshi. I want to fight you again when you're even better. But to do that, they probably would have had to skip that entire scene with Genkai, so I don't know what they would have done there. And they could have had an entire season 2 to cover the Dark Tournament, and if this one did well enough, it could have just been so amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad it didn't happen. Instead, we conclude with basically the ending of the Dark Tournament. Yusuke kills Toguro. He wins. Kurabara doesn't actually die, just like in the anime when Toguro attacks him to get Urameshi to use his full power. We get a stinger at the end of older Toguro, but not of Shinsui, which is curious because they skipped the arc with the demon, with the first team-up arc of this. So I'm wondering if they did do the chapter Black, if they would combine that arc too for padding and to do much more time, and we'd get live action Shinsui. But overall, I think Yu Yu Hakusho live action was a great adaptation. It did really good. It just, I think because of fear that it might not have gotten to season 2, it just revealed way too much. It just tried doing too much, which is sad because now I'm never going to get a live action Dark Tournament arc. Oh, screw it, you know what? I'm rewatching Yu Yu Hakusho. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe, and comment below what you thought of the live action Yu Yu Hakusho scene, and what is your favorite moment in the Yu Yu Hakusho anime or the manga, since I know they do differ slightly.